Alright, this is just going to be kind of a quick build video. I found something else to use, and I'm just going to go ahead and share this with you as I progress in the game and that sort of thing. Just getting started. I've got a 511 set, the focus being on light armor, and that basically serves your undaunted passives, which gives you that extra resource for each type of armor that you have. The logic being with light armor is it powers up your magicka. So I've got one medium, one heavy, and this is a blood spawn set, and it gives me a lot of ultimate back. It'll make you tanky and that sort of thing. It's pretty much my go-to set that I use for just about everything. Everything else is crafty affix. So that's what I've been using as a secondary set. So basically this gives you a lot of magicka, and you don't really need a pet with this. I've gotten away from pet builds just because of the mainly because of the number of slots that I've needed to use and that sort of thing. So my other set is the Imperial Physique set. I've got everything in spell damage, everything in arcane. I've got enough health that I don't really feel like I need to worry too much about being tanky or anything like that. And you can see the stats that I have. I've got 51,000 magicka, and that is with using this as a food source. The staffs are the fire staff with the shock damage. This is going to give you the most the most damage overall. Reason being, in your destruction staff passives, ancient knowledge, equipped with a flame staff increases your damage done with single target abilities by 8%. So basically everything, having this will increase your damage 8%, pretty much across the board. Of course, on my back bar, I have the restoration staff of Imperial Physique. Now, ideally, just in my experience, you want both of these. Like if you were to put a lich on the back bar or something of that nature, you'd probably want to put lich in the front as well, just because the percentage of magic you go to the back bar if you're not a full 5-piece set of Imperial Physique, you're going to lose all that magic, and then when you go back to this bar, you're going to have to gain it all back again. So that's one of the things there. Of course, everything is tri-stat glyphed, and the reason for that is it really adds to your health and your stamina, which is important for breaking free and that sort of thing. I've got almost 34k health, which is pretty strong. I'll put it this way: typically a Nightblade isn't going to be able to gank you or anything out of that. This high pool of magicka, it allows for some larger shields. So here I've got about 12,000 in terms of shields, which can really help. Anyway, I guess that's about it there. Fully buffed up. Now what I'm doing is if I use a dark magic ability, that increases my spell critical. So when I'm out there, I'll do this before a fight. Fully buffed up. I've got 45% spell critical. 2872 spell damage. Spell and physical resistance are about 18k. Critical resistance is 3000. This is pretty important. The reason I say this is if you don't have critical resistance, you're going to get hit pretty hard out here. So everything is impenetrable and that sort of thing. Getting into the skills themselves, this is what I use. I use Force Pulse, and it's a pretty strong skill in that each one of these elements has a chance to proc. I've got Rune Cage. This is a really good CC to have. This and Streak. A lot of guys just use Streak, but I use this because I can hit him from far away, and it gets him to hold still for a minute. And I've got Structured Entropy. This has really been buffed up quite a bit. This has turned out to be quite a skill. You've got almost 30k damage over 12 seconds, which turns out to be quite a lot. Endless Fury, basically I hit him for 4,700, and then once they're below 20%, they will basically get another 16,740 damage to them. And I've got Endless Fury. Reason being is this restores magicka. The other one hits surrounding enemies. They're both good, but I found this one to be more useful, so this is what I've used. You can use either one. And of course I've got Hardened Ward. And then I've got Power Overload. Now I've kept this as my ultimate, because recently this seems to be my go-to bar. Anytime you're coming against a player or something like that, you can Rune Cage them, put Endless Fury up. Once you feel you've gotten them down to a point where you know you're going to get them down further, and just keep hitting them with Power Overload. Now, I'll show you something else. Structured Entropy is a, let's see, that's a Mage Guild skill. So coming here, Might of the Guild, casting a Mage Guild ability grants you Empower, increasing the damage of your next light attack by 40% for 5 seconds. Okay, this will count as a light attack, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay.
These Tremora are naught but a poor imitation of Lord Dagon's.
Notice the
we are Molad Ball's true children.
The amount that Power Overload has here. Power Overload has 14,289 right now. Now watch this. Okay, now it has 18,000. So as you can see, that really made a big difference as far as power and that sort of thing. So when you're going up against an enemy, you're not going to be able to spam this, but for the first time that you hit them, if you hit them with a Structured Entropy first, that's going to empower this. I'll just kind of demonstrate this one more time. 14,289. And now we're at 18,000. So that's quite a bit.
Comprehend the majesty of a Zivkin.
So anyway, that's what I've got there. On my back bar, I've got rapid regeneration. There's two morphs to this. They give identical healing, but this one gives it over 5 seconds. The other one gives it over 10 seconds. If you keep this up, it's a really good way to keep you alive during fights. But you got to be, pretty good about keeping it up and that sort of thing. I've only got one shield that I use, but in using this, along with rapid regeneration and dark conversion, if I am coordinating using these heals, it's really hard to kill me. I've got streak. I've got boundless storm. Of course, dark conversion. This is a skill you're going to be using quite a bit. And I've got critical surge. Now, critical surge, of course, is a really good healing skill. As you're still fairly high in terms of crit on this build, but if you use this, not only will it heal you for every critical strike, but these heals can also be critical heals as well. So that'll really benefit you. And of course, I've got Light's Champion. Now, if I had the Sigic Order, which I don't have that up, but if I had that, what I could do, every time I block on this back bar, I gain about a shield worth about 5,000. So this is a pretty good ability class set to develop if you can. I just haven't had the time, but once you get that developed, that might be even better than Light's Champion. But Light's Champion is good if you get in trouble as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. And not only that, it's a fairly low-cost ultimate, which you're going to see come up pretty often if you're using Bloodspawn. Of course, Bloodspawn also helps Power Overload, so you're going to get this filled up pretty quickly as well. Once it's full, it allows you about 22 hits. Once you're full and that sort of thing. So this is just something to keep in mind. But typically, going into it, I was out in the sewers last night with a partner, and we came across a couple times small zergs of AD and DC. And what we did, we got into it, and basically, he's running about the same build that I am, and we pretty much mowed him down. It wasn't really even a contest. So I just hit him a few times with this. I think locked him down with that. Switched to my power overload and put endless fury on him for when he got down really low, and it was kind of a rinse repeat. It wasn't even hard with this much power. So anyway, I guess that's about it. That's about what I got going on. Now, like if you're fighting a boss like Mulg Ball or something like that, uh, you're going to want to reserve this for times when you think you might need it. Typically, I just use Force Pulse along with Structured Entropy. I always like to keep this working in the background, and you can hit multiple targets with this and get the heals from that. So anyway, that's about it. Just this is your spammable. This is your CC. Keep structured entropy on them, and this is your execute. And if you need more DPS, switch to your power overload, because this hits really hard, and it melts enemies pretty good. So I guess that's about it. I don't think I have anything else here. This is quite a bit of magicka. Now if I'm in, say, Cyrodiil or somewhere else, what I typically do I'll switch from Imperial Physique to Shacklebreaker and use that. Shacklebreaker is more or less it's just about the same as Imperial Physique in reality, except for that last 5 items where you have everything multiplied as much as you do, but it does give you 2000 max stamina and 2000 max magicka. So, but Imperial Physique, of course, that doesn't work everywhere. But oh, one other thing, I've got this enchant here. I've got a second Infernal Staff of Imperial Physique. Now what I've done here was I've put a magic damage to Daedra and Undead. Now this is really strong down here in terms of fighting the Daedra. It hits really hard. On infused weapons, it pretty much hits all the time. The only thing is if you run into other players that aren't, say, a vampire or werewolf or something like that, it's not going to do anything. So I've really, I've kept this. It works pretty well most of the time on just about everything. But if you do know that for whatever reason you're going to be fighting vampires or werewolves, this is kind of your go-to staff to have. It melts them down pretty quick. So anyway, I guess that's about it. I hope you guys find this useful, and I guess I'll see you guys out there. Take care.